Welcome to 1991 Movie Rewind, the podcast where we watch and review every movie released in 1991, from the all-time greatest classics to the critically panned and everything in between. We will rediscover forgotten fan favorites and uncover hidden gems as we explore the depths of direct-to-video. Join us in our celebration of the fun, unique, and diverse films of this highly underrated year. This week, we watched And You Thought Your Parents Were Weird. On 1991 Movie Rewind. And You Thought Your Parents Were Weird tells the story of two young brothers who are working on a top secret robot. They're making progress, but something is missing. Then one night, older brother Josh, played by Joshua John Miller, goes to a Halloween party and accidentally summons the spirit of his dead father. The next morning, the robot works perfectly with Dad, voiced by Alan Thicke, taking control, but that leads to other problems. Screenplay by Tony Cookson, directed by Tony Cookson, and released on November 15th, 1991. Have you heard of this movie before? Again, I'm sure you haven't seen it, probably.
I've heard of this movie, and I thought I saw it, but I'm getting this movie confused with another...
Short Circuit 2?
No, another 1991 movie.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I thought that movie was this, I guess, or this movie was that.
My Stepmother is an Alien? Yeah.
No. But yeah, I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
I don't think I've heard of it either, but when I was making the list for this, it's one that stood out as being intriguing. You know, like you have Alan Thicke is the voice of this robot dad in a weird kids movie. I don't know. It just seemed like a very 90s type of a movie. I'm like, ooh, this might be fun. It was. I thought it was fun. It's not good.
No, it's not. But it's like, was this on USA Up All Night?
I don't know. I don't have that list in front of me.
But I feel like this is too family, because I feel like weird movies were on USA Up All Night, but this movie is weird.
They do have some, non-adult stuff that appeared on USA Up All Night, but this is very, very kid-oriented, so I'd be surprised if it was part of that. And then
I was thinking, so this was released in the theaters?
At least briefly, or like with a very limited scope, because it does have a box office performance listed of $402,000, making it number 204 on our list of movies with box office. I was just thinking about,
this is kind of, I was just thinking of maybe this is like a TBS or
it looks like a Family Channel thing back when,
like a made for TV movie. I just don't I don't know. It's just, I think it's funny that it was released in the theaters.
It must have been very limited, like New York, LA, maybe for like a weekend or two, and that's it. That's the only thing I could think of. Otherwise, it looks and feels like a direct-to-video movie or a budget cable TV movie.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not that far removed from what you would see from like early Disney TV movies with the lower production value of like a Halloween Town or something like that. But yeah, it's not. That's not why you're going to see this movie. This is something to placate the kids and keep them busy for an hour and a half.
Right.
And that's about all. The story is extremely basic. Does not have to make a whole lick of sense. I don't know.
No, it doesn't.
Because it's sort of like structured in such a way that you have like main beats of a movie, but who cares if the plot makes sense, because you're showing it to your 6-year-old kid who's not going to remember things a half hour.
Yeah, you're just going to be like,
anyway.
Oh, that's a cool robot.
Yeah.
Or something.
Which, is it? Is it a cool robot?
It's doing chores and stuff.
It looks like. Did you ever watch the cartoon Mask? It was sort of a Transformers GoBots type of a movie or show where you had cars that could turn into weapons.
Oh no.
With the power of people putting on their masks.
Okay.
And in there was a robot that, also doubled as like a scooter for the main hero's son. So it looked like that because this is literally what do they call this robot? Newman.
Mm-hmm.
Newman is literally a shop vac with like a colander on its head.
Yeah, and they use those extender lights as his arms.
Yeah.
You know those lights that you put over your bed?
Yeah, like bendable lamps.
Yeah.
Those types of
Those are his arms.
mechanisms with garden gloves on top.
Yes, for his fingers.
With felt on the fingers,
Mm-hmm.
so he knows how hard to squeeze because the felt is attached, and on the other side are microphones, right? And so when you get closer to gripping something, the microphone will rub up against the felt and send signals to the robot's brain to tell it when to stop squeezing. That's the kind of high-tech knowledge that you're going to learn about science in this movie.
That this 15-year-old knows about.
Yeah, just completely made up BS is basically what this is. Yeah, like try to make it pick up that screwdriver, and he just types a couple sentences on the keyboard, and it's like, oh no, that didn't work. Oops.
Right.
I was expecting a little bit more special effects, I guess, maybe in this as well. We really only see anything when
there isn't
the
really.
dad comes in from
when
outer space / heaven.
Yeah, when they do the seance and then he possesses
Yeah, it's just
Newman.
that brief scene.
And I was getting confused. So like, it's the robot share. So the father, Alan Thicke, shares the same quote mind as Newman because the robot can switch back and forth between being Newman and then the father.
Yeah.
And then when near the end when he's gone, Newman even says he's gone.
Yeah,
He's
Newman
like,
can sense him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't, like...
But then he
Can
comes
he?
back for a second. Well,
I
that's
know.
the thing. Yeah, he's like, oh, he's gone. And then...
Like, how can he... How
2
does he
seconds
have
later in the
feelings
movie, he's back. And he's like, oh, I was trapped in a computer chip.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
But-
my Alan Thicke impression, I guess.
But I was like, the robot can feel? I don't know. But whatever.
This is a very sophisticated robot, don't you know?
Yeah, that's why everyone wants it.
Yes.
And there's, like in the beginning, you have Josh and Max in this school invention.
Yeah.
Is it for a school or for, like, their town they're in?
I think it's a school. It was all kids.
Okay, so it's like every year
Sort of like
there's like some
Invent
invention.
America, except there's only like 5 people on stage.
Yeah, there's like, and then this one dude always
Cotswinkle.
wins. Yeah, every year he wins.
Dwayne Cotswinkle.
Yes, with his father.
Because his father helps him every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so,
he makes some sort of
some tennis ball retriever. It's basically just a vacuum. It's literally just a vacuum.
It's like, yeah, it's like a vacuum that we would have now. It's, when you go to like a golfing range and they have someone like driving around sucking up the balls.
Mm-hmm.
This is like that.
Except at a smaller scale.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're walking and just like going up to the balls and it's sucking it up into this thing.
It's a leaf blower in reverse.
Yeah.
with silver paint to make it look future-like.
Yes.
That's what it is. But that's the problem that they're solving with this invention is, hey, long day on the court, you ever too tired to pick up the balls? Well, here you go.
Yeah,
Just
instead
drag
of
this
bending
with you.
down and taking one ball, like, one by one, here's
Right.
this vacuum thing that can suck up, like, I don't know, 50 balls. But it's like,
It's just...
who needs that besides, like, tennis players? But are you keeping all the balls, like, strewn about?
Yeah, they don't show how you get the balls out.
Yeah.
What's really weird is, okay, this is how they structure the competition. It's a tie between Kotzwinkle and the Carsons, Josh and Max. And they're like, that's based solely off of, I guess, written documentation or graphics, because, like, the way we have to break the tie is with a demonstration of how it works.
Yeah, wouldn't you have demoed
wouldn't
that
you have known
first?
that beforehand as part of the competition? But no.
That's why I was like, this is like a science fair where the teachers or whoever, like who are the judges? Because they have
Evidently,
that.
the guy who said that there was a tie, because, like, as soon as they show off their robot thing, so yeah, Max.
But you have like the the local TV station.
Yeah, they're covering it for, like,
Covering
just a fluff piece. But after Max and Josh give their demonstration of their robot, not the secret robot, but this is basically what they've invented was, what do they call it? It's just basically like a moving trash can.
Yeah, it's
meant to be a trash can on wheels that can move on its own with voice commands, and it has sonar sensors, quote unquote, to avoid hitting any kids that might cross its path, because of course they show that happening in the movie. Some stupid little girl in the audience
drops something and then
runs in front of it, and it stops, and they're like, oh, so
like.
But then the person who's at the microphone, the he's the judge, I guess, who announced the tie and called for the demonstration. He's like, "Yep, they win." He didn't consult anybody. He just like, "Well, we clearly have a winner."
Because it didn't hit that girl, and that just automatically became a winner.
But before they saw it in action, that was just as good as this glorified vacuum.
Right.
So, yeah, don't expect high art in this.
And then they get $1,000.
They get $1,000, which is huge for 1991 for kids.
For kids, and if I got $1,000 in 1991, I would be like, let me go buy all the toys or something.
Exactly. That's a whole stack
at Toys
of
R Us.
Games. Yes. That's like the entire He-Man collection right there.
And
all of the
they're
Turtles
just
figures.
they're like, we're gonna give half to our mom, and
that's an unresolved plot point.
Right. They interview Max, the 10-year-old, instead of Josh, the 15-year-old, and they're like, what are you gonna do with the money? And he's like, well, my mom is poor, basically,
Yeah.
so we're gonna give her half of it. And then he kind of reveals that they have another robot, and then he's like, well, we're gonna spend the other money on our robot Newman. And then that's when Josh is like, Max, shh, be quiet.
Yeah, no one can even know about the possibility of this robot.
And that's when this one of the reporters is like so obsessed with this.
Yes. She has to. There is a
she
story
has to
here.
know. Yeah, she's like, there's a story. I know it. And then she
kids.
literally breaks into their house.
Yes.
To get this story about this robot.
Yeah, and a robot can mean anything.
I know, it could be.
But like, yeah,
everyone like a can opener. I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. It could honestly be like an automated can opener.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, cool, whatever. Like, they're gonna do a full story on that.
But her mind, and everyone who hears the word robot immediately goes to humanoid.
Yeah, they think
who can,
RoboCop or something.
Yeah, exactly. But these two little kids are gonna change the world with this cyborg creature type of a thing. When robot, could mean anything. So it's an interesting situation, and the Cotswinkles are obviously meant to be the enemies. You know, they're not used to losing.
Yeah, they win every year, but like, what do they invent every single year to win?
I don't really know. I don't know, but they're portrayed as like white trash people. They live in a junkyard, and so they're, you know, portrayed as the enemy in like this very 90s way, where it's like, oh, if you're overweight and sweaty and dirty and live in a junkyard, then you're a garbage person, literally. Even though they're super smart engineers, they just have no morals, as we learn later on. It's amazing how quickly people just accept stuff as true, right? Like the reporter who's like, oh, robot, this must be amazing. I think more so also when the dad finally does possess the robot and announces himself to Josh and Max, it's like instantaneous. We're like, oh, okay, so that's what's happening. You know, it's like, oh no, I didn't drive off the cliff on purpose. I didn't mean to do that. It was an accident.
Josh is mad. He's
and by the way, I'm in your robot now, and I'm going to help you build them from the inside. They're like, oh, all right.
Yeah, they didn't. They weren't creeped out by that.
Yeah, like there's like virtually no discussion or anything about how this happened or is this possible.
Well,
anything like that.
It was mostly from. What is it? I want to call her Rayanne. Yeah, Beth. I want to call her Rayanne, but it's not Rayanne. Beth.
AJ Langer.
Yeah. Who was also in People Under the Stairs.
Yeah, we've talked about her during that.
She's like. She has a hardcore crush on Josh. And she is she the one that invites him, or they just have a Halloween? She has the Halloween party.
She has the Halloween party.
Okay, that's her. I just thought it was a school Halloween party, and she was there.
No, but Josh is the only one not dressed up.
Yeah, she's having like a seance in the back room
with some fake Ouija board, off-brand Ouija board.
Yeah, because it's got like Greek letters all over it, and yeah, it doesn't look like the typical Ouija board that you see like anywhere else.
Yeah, all the letters are in like a circle.
Yeah. And she's like, hey, do you want to jump on in this seance? This is the second movie where we see a seance.
Yeah.
And one of the kids, like, why do people want to talk to, like, I don't know. One of them's like, I want to speak to Napoleon. It's like when we were talking about Bill and Ted, people wanted to. Did someone else say Napoleon in Bill and Ted?
In Bogus Journey, I don't think so, but he was in obviously Excellent
I know
Adventure.
He was in the first one. I don't think because in this, I remember the people in her seance circle. They were like, I want to talk to. I forgot all the people who they were all famous.
So yeah,
But this one, they all specifically were like, let's talk to Napoleon.
It was just that one kid, I think. He was, yeah.
But Ray, or whatever.
Like, oh man, I thought I was going to talk to Napoleon.
Yeah, Beth was like, okay, let's contact Napoleon or something. And that's when, Josh's dad comes through.
Yeah, the letter is spelled dad. And she looks up at him, and he storms out because, like, oh, this is the cruel joke you're playing.
Yeah, he thinks she's doing it. But then, the next day she's like, I thought your parents were divorced. I didn't know your dad died. And then I think throughout, I don't know, after a couple of days, she's like, did something weird happen? Did something happen to you or something else? Because after that seance, I forgot
the pointer got hot.
Yeah, the pointer. I forgot the actual name for the pointer.
But that's what she calls it.
Yeah, I know. She calls it the pointer. Yeah, she was like, the pointer was really hot. As if she's like a seance Ouija board expert or something. Like.
Yeah, no, she's done this many times before. Yeah.
And Josh, by this time, Josh's dad is in the robot, but he doesn't want to say anything. He's like, no. It's like, why are you asking? And that's when she said the pointer was really hot. And, like, that's supposed to do something.
Right. Yeah, as if whatever. It happens. That's all you need to know is it happens, right? Like, that's... You don't have to think too much about it. It just, it works.
Right.
So yeah, now he's just going to help build the robot from the inside out. And plus, now the robot can talk and do anything because the dad is controlling its circuitry and mind and, it has
right,
complete motor functions and a personality and voice recognition and facial recognition.
The kids are in school. He's, becoming friendly. Like, he's acting as Newman to get close to the mom.
Uh-huh.
And he's doing all these nice things, like cleaning up the place. And then the mom's like, wow, my kids built this amazing thing that does chores and whatever.
Yeah.
And is, like, wanting to cook me dinner and then eventually, like, rub my feet and do whatever.
It's weird that he immediately introduces himself to the sons, but he needs to continue to pretend to be a robot for the mom.
Well, he doesn't
because she hates surprises. That was the only reason that's given in the movie as to why the charade is kept up so long with her.
But when he is finally revealed to her, she's like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's fine with it.
Yeah, no one cares.
Well, if you were, like, dead and you came through, I don't know, a lamp, I would be freaked out.
Yeah. And, like, even mom's new boyfriend, Steve, like, he's like, oh,
he's
okay.
cool with it.
Yeah, all right, your dead husband's in this thing. Okay, I get it. Let's go save
his life.
Patent.
Yeah. And then, like, skipping all the way to the end, Alan Thicke is Matthew in Newman's robot body.
By the way, Newman, because he's going to be a new man someday.
Yes.
Anyway, carry on.
Like, at the very end, it's like the boyfriend, like, Matthew introduces himself and he's like, oh, by the way, I'm Matthew.
Yeah.
Sarah's the mom. Like, I'm Sarah's ex-husband. Not even ex, a husband, because he died.
Yeah, widow.
And he's like, you're a good guy. Take care of her. Like, it's weird. But in the beginning, when Matthew sees the boyfriend, I forgot his name already. Steve.
He shows up twice.
He shows up because he's a
he's at the very
magazine writer.
And then at the very end. Yeah, he's like a traveling magazine writer who's selling some unknown story to a magazine. And it gets picked up and it's going to be turned into a book or whatever. And he wants to marry Sarah.
Yeah, he comes and goes.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like, well, first off, the really weird transitions around that scene where, the screen just kind of like flips. And, like,
yeah, that's why I was like, is this a TV movie? Because the way it was edited was so weird, and I don't know if that's part of... We watched this on Tubi. I don't know if that's like a cutoff for a commercial or something.
No, I don't think it was. I think it's just the movie. Okay. I think it's just, being playful. I think, but it was really weird because that was the only time there was like swearing, I don't know, kids swearing in there because the younger son sees Steve in his convertible drive up. He's like, yo, Steve, where the hell have you been? And then they just get in the car with this guy and drive home.
Yeah, we don't know who he is yet. I thought he was like a neighbor or a friend. Yeah. But he's her boyfriend that was gone for however many days.
Yeah, just traveling for whatever. He eventually helps with the fight at the end. There's like a big old fight. Everybody wants this robot. You have the reporter who's... This is so weird too. Okay, so she sneaks in the house, breaks into a house to try to get the story, doesn't see anything, gets some footage from outside the window, and then like she sort of like barges into the house a different time. She rings the doorbell and the mom's like, no, the kids don't want to be interviewed about this stuff. And the reporter's like, well, can I use your phone? I just got this
She got a page, yeah.
From the station. I need to call them back. And then she sees wheel tracks that lead to a closet. And she's immediately like, that has to be
the robot.
That has to be the robot. It couldn't possibly be like vacuum wheels
Right.
or a wet vac, which is what the robot is made of.
Right.
It's like, no, this is robot tracks. I'm gonna bring a cameraman here. But yeah, of course she finds something.
Right, because she shows footage from outside looking inside, which is like totally inappropriate.
And she runs a story about the whole thing without their consent.
Yeah, showing Newman like dancing with the mom and then doing chores or whatever.
And talking, yep.
Yeah.
But also the Cotswinkles overhear the word robot when Beth and Josh are talking, or I guess the younger Cotswinkle, Dwayne, hears them talking outside of school, and hears the word robot, and also immediately
everyone hears
imagines
the word robot, and they think
superhero freak. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, they think RoboCop is gonna, like, I don't know.
And so they're... Well, I think part of it is also that the dad, Matt Carson, was some sort of major inventor, engineer as well. And so either they're assuming that because it's his son, that he's going to have these same magical abilities,
just like how
and
Dwayne
whatnot,
and his father.
Yeah,
it's
or
like
that it could have been some of Matt's old plans, and so they are also trying to break in.
Yeah, to get these. I don't know.
To get the robot, or to get the plans.
Yeah,
but
the
mostly
plans for the robot.
And there's this security system that was set up by Josh, but it's just this big, bulky thing that's very obvious that is a single laser. And they just step over it and walk in. So it's really pathetic, some of these sequences. But the Cotswinkles steal it. For some reason, before that, the robot also kind of exposes himself by washing the car outside.
Yeah, this is before even telling Josh and Max that he's their father yet.
No, that's slightly after.
Okay. Yeah. I thought it was the day, like the next day. He's like, all right, I'm going to do chores.
But it's before he reveals himself
washing the car and then pulling weeds or vacuuming.
But, so they show like a little bit of a montage, and there's a scene where he's washing the car, and then this dog just wanders in and like is going to pee on the car.
And
such a fake dog leg.
Yeah, they close up on like they can't really like they couldn't get the dog to pee
or even lift its own leg.
Yeah,
no,
they had to. It was like a very obvious
it's like a puppet
stuffed animal lifting its leg, peeing on the car's hubcap. And that's when Alan Thicke or Matthew is like, no, I'm the only one that's going to be watering this car today.
Yeah.
He's making typical dad jokes, like, throughout.
He's full of one-liners or, little quips and stuff, which is good. I mean, that's what you want out of this type of situation. You want a screwball robot that's going to be...
Yeah, because if you're a kid watching this, you're like, that's funny.
Yeah. You want to be... a Johnny Five-like creature, honestly.
Doing all these chores for you.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, the robot he knows too much about their personal lives, right? So, he's saying all these things, he's talking way too much, and it's really weird that the mom doesn't catch on a little bit sooner. He asks that they watch, like, home movies and make beef stew, which is Josh's favorite, and all this kind of stuff. So he just knows way too much, way too soon.
Well, she's probably like, well, maybe they programmed... Like, she's probably thinking her son's programmed him to like these favorite things of theirs.
Right, that's the excuse that Matt gives.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I knew that bucket was there because they programmed me to know that bucket was there.
Yeah.
But there's always stuff that he should never have known. Like at the end, how did he know what the tennis ball machine was when he used it on Dwayne as the robot? Because he didn't exist yet. He wasn't down to Earth yet. He wasn't at that place. So, I mean, there's,
Unless, like, Josh
clearly
and Max
a flawed
told
movie.
them, like, hey, we won this $1,000.
That's true. That could have happened. Yeah.
But, I don't know. So, the very weird part is when they're watching the home movies, and like the mom's getting all sad, and but like Matthew as Newman rubbing her feet is weird. But then when she does find out that Newman is Matthew, and that whole night where she's getting ready for bed and she invites him to her room.
Yeah, I wrote down in my notes, going to fuck a robot. Yeah.
I mean,
she's trying to seduce
she's like
this thing for a second.
seducing Newman / Matthew.
Yeah. Like, let's see what those garden gloves are capable of, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
and whenever they show a close-up of the robot hands, it's a real hand in a glove.
Yeah. Very finesse.
Yeah.
Involve moves that I don't know if robots now can even do. Yeah.
Yeah, like, they can't really make a robot with, like, human-looking type fingers unless you're really, I don't know,
with independent motions like that, it might be
like opposable thumbs, like turning knobs and shit. I don't know.
Maybe there is. I haven't paid much attention to robot tech, but I just remember a few years ago that one that was trying to jump or go downstairs and just falling over. So
yeah, but that scene with her seducing the robot,
and then she's basically like, "What am I doing?" And then, hey, you don't want to just like be here while I sleep to keep me company.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's like, yeah, I'm not gonna fuck a robot.
She's just,
that's
but
a bad
the way
idea.
she gets out of the shower and puts on pajamas and she's all seductive, and then she shows the bed and kind of pats the bed.
Yeah.
I was like, why?
It was sort of like reminding me of that end scene of Tammy and the T-Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the brain
if this
in the
is
jar
a kid's
and dancing
movie,
for the brain
why
in the jar.
even show that at all?
I don't know. Give something for the
for
parents,
the
but like, why would they care either?
Then,
I don't know.
I was thinking, is this the reason for the title? Because then I was thinking, oh, is he gonna be in that robot for forever?
Yeah, are they gonna find some way to?
And she's in love.
Transport that into a human body or something like that.
Yeah, like she's in love with her husband's in there, and she's in love with the robot because her husband's soul is in there.
Yeah, because at some point
and
Steve
that's
comes
just gonna
back
be
and
how
she's
it
like,
is for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I can't marry you because I'm already married, or wait, I was
married,
thought, or whatever. Like, she's confused because
I thought there was gonna be conflict with the boyfriend after she found out her husband was in this robot. I thought she was gonna break up with Steve.
No, it just ended up being an internal struggle for a minute there, and then everyone was like, okay, this is what's going on. Until
Alan Thicke is like, I can't stay on this earth for too long.
Yeah, I don't really... I mean, they didn't really explain why, other than he should go back and not be with them forever in this robot brain. But I don't think there's any reason given as to like, oh, I'm not going to spend time with Napoleon and Albert Einstein and whoever else upstairs.
He's like, yeah, I know Albert and I know Napoleon.
And like, yeah, they're big jokesters and all this kind of stuff.
Alright, so getting to Albert Einstein.
Well, before, I don't know, do you want to talk about that, or do you want to talk about like how he gets stolen by the Cotswinkles and
I mean, we sort of did. So this is where it's the whole Johnny Five moment.
Yeah, because the Cotswinkles are stealing him on behalf of this other guy, Jaeger, who is some big tech guy who had stolen from Matt when he was alive, but never had a chance to prove it because he drove his car off a cliff accidentally and died. So now he's trying to get revenge because the Jaeger and Cotswinkles are at it again. They want to steal the patent for this robot.
Yeah, his plans for this robot. And like in the beginning when Josh and Max find out about their dad, Josh is just like very mad at his dad. He's like, I never liked you when you were alive and I don't like you now. And he's just very mad that his dad committed suicide.
Yes.
But
he saw his dad as being extremely selfish in life, which the dad also says, yes, I was not a good father when I was around because I was too focused on work and all this kind of stuff.
And then, but he's like, I did not kill myself. And I thought it was going to be like, oh, we got to solve a murder.
Right.
But it wasn't.
It was not RoboCop.
Like he was murdered by Dwayne or Jaeger.
Yeah. He could have been RoboCop.
Yeah.
But no.
But it could have
a
been
skunk.
like all these stories that could have been.
A skunk. He was trying to avoid
He was
a skunk
like, yeah,
and drop off a cliff.
Yeah. Yeah. I swerved because there was a skunk and like drove off a cliff?
Yeah.
That's like the worst way to die.
Yeah, it would be terrible. I mean, but these things do happen, right?
But then Josh is like, oh, okay. Like everyone's just like their reactions to these serious things. They're just like, oh, all right. Well,
I think my favorite
I truly
one,
thought you killed yourself.
Yeah, I think my favorite one was when Beth found out. Because like they're just walking along or whatever, and you know she hears Newman, or I guess Josh calls him Dad or something, and
oh yeah,
she's and Beth is like, wait a minute, is Newman your dad? And he's like, yeah. Wow.
She's like, cool.
All right, well I should go.
Yeah.
Doesn't
like people's react like no one's minds are being like blown by all of this information.
Yeah, and even the Coswinkles are like, oh.
Like no one.
At first they
like
thought it was just like a thing, like, oh, they programmed their dad's voice in this thing.
Oh,
and
like
then they realized, oh no, this is him inside. So
yeah, so the kidnapping of the robot.
There's a fight. There's a punch in the nuts. They crash the son into some bowling pins and balls. He tries to steal. The robot tries to steal the car, but gets caught and disassembled. And then the family comes and saves him. Steve helps with Josh and fighting back against the Coswinkles and retrieving the robot. The mom prevents Jaeger from leaving the premises right when the cops arrive. And then the scene ends. You don't even get to see the resolution of them getting hauled away or arrested or anything like that. It just ends.
But, yeah, but then they're like, they're trying to find where Newman / their dad is. And that's when they ask Beth to come over so they can do another seance.
Yeah, because they recover the robot, but Newman is just Newman, not Matt. That's part, sort of when he's saying, oh, I can't, whatever. And so, yeah, they have to do a seance to try to find Dad if he's okay.
And they try to find Dad, but instead it's Albert Einstein coming through, and he responds with EMC2. And then there's like 5 minutes of trying to figure out. It takes
this genius kid who built this sentient robot like a minute and a half to figure out that that's Einstein.
And he's like, Albert, and then like people are like, thank you, Mr. Einstein, for helping us find our dad.
Yeah, it's something about can you help find our dad and send him back to
into Newman so we can say thank you / goodbye.
And Einstein is like, okay.
Yeah, and then signs off.
That's it.
And meanwhile, like the mom and Steve are like, I don't know if my 10-year-old kid, I'd be like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, but it's so fun. I don't know.
It's so fun. It's funny.
And like I think one of the funniest scenes also is like basically the last shot when Dad's spirit is sent back up into the stars.
Oh,
and then you have Robot Newman looking out the window wistfully and waving.
And waving to the sky. And that's like the end of the movie. But not really, because...
Well, you get credits with...
There's... Before all that, when they go back to Newman, you see Newman on the phone.
No, that's before the Einstein thing.
I thought it was after, because his dad is in Newman now.
No, that's... Okay. So, yeah, they're using Einstein to get Dad back into the heavens.
Oh, I thought to get him back into...
Yeah, they were going to use the seance... I don't remember exactly. They were going to use the seance to try to find Dad at first. Yeah. But before they could, they saw him on the phone.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, yeah, I was stuck on a computer chip.
Yeah.
So he wasn't lost. He had to get himself out of the
Yeah.
thing. So he wasn't responding until then. But that's when he said, "Well, I can't stay here forever. I need to get back.
Right.
Can we call on somebody to help me get back?"
Yeah.
And so that's when they
Okay.
called Einstein.
But, and then after that, his father goes up into the heavens, and then some Texas tycoon guy just knocks on their door 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
Like, I was just on the phone with your dad, and he called me over.
Yeah.
Where is he?
Yeah, where is he? He
And they're
said
like-
you wanted to reconsider your offer of selling this robot to me. Because
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
like a whole scene that we skipped
Yeah,
over
we
because it's
skipped that.
whatever. A lot of people want this robot.
Yeah, yeah, because the TV. Oh, this is another funny moment
my
that
God,
cracked
yeah.
me up. Was when the TV journalist woman, she's bribing Max with this like really cool bike,
Right.
and Max is like, okay, you can show footage on Newman, I guess, and that's
But like
when.
only after we get the patent is what he
Yeah.
said later on.
But they
the
never
arc.
did because, they kind of don't want it. Josh kind of, is like, no, I don't.
Yeah, they don't want it at all. And Max is like, okay, we can
Yeah.
talk about it, but you can't show anything until we have the patent.
Yeah, but
And then
they
just
did
don't-
anyway.
Right.
They showed it like on 5 p.m. news where everyone's watching.
And then immediately swarms of people come to the house.
Yeah, come to their house, like surrounding their garage and looking through windows and trying to go through doors, and it's weird.
Yeah.
And then
It's like, oh, what? I can't come in your house? The door was open.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the woman, her name is Alice, right? The TV...
The reporter, Alice
The reporter,
Woods, yep.
yeah. Like, she realizes, like, all the, quote, damage that happened. I don't even know.
She suddenly has regret after breaking into
She's like,
houses
oh, I'm
multiple
so
times.
sorry. Yeah, and she reveals, like, I broke in your house. And then Max is like, I will never watch your program ever again.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm never gonna watch your 5 p.m. news.
Yeah.
That was, like, his only comeback, which cracked me up.
Uh-huh.
But that was the end of, like, her.
I mean, she arranges the meeting with scientists to sort of make it up to them.
Yeah,
So
but...
that's who was brought back eventually. But yeah.
Just that comeback by Max is hilarious.
But yeah, I think the last shot is Newman looking up at the sky
Yeah,
and waving.
looking up at the sky and waving.
And then you get credits with like memorable scenes and a couple outtakes with a very sitcom like good song.
And I feel like, did Alan Thicke write this? Because he
He did
wrote...
not.
Oh, he didn't.
He did not. I looked it up.
As if it...
It sounded
Would've been-
yes, it sounded very Alan Thicke like. So okay, the song is called "Love Breaks the Rules." We'll have a link to it on the website. It does exist on YouTube, so we'll have that on there for you. But yeah, it does sound like the team that would be behind like the Growing Pains theme song, which he also did not write. It was written. I'm sorry, it was performed by Jane Barnett and Larry Hoppin. I think they also wrote it, but I could be wrong. IMDb doesn't have the actual credits of it, so anyway, not an Alan Thicke song, but a good one.
Yeah.
Like, I
yeah.
wish it was earlier in the movie, like maybe even at the beginning or something. It's weird to save the best music for the end because the rest of the music is very cartoony, circusy,
just
kids
Yeah,
show
like
stuff.
hokey, whatever sounds.
So we'll talk about Alan Thicke a little bit more in a second. I'll probably end on him. In terms of awards, not much to really talk about, right? You got the Saturn nomination for the best performance by a younger actor for Joshua John Miller, but that award went to Eddie Furlong for T2. Not a big surprise, unfortunately, there. Young artist nominations for AJ Langer, Eden Gross, and Joshua John Miller. Tony Cookson wrote and directed this. This is his first feature. He did like a short film before this. Otherwise, his only other feature is from 1999, a movie called Love Happens, which stars Megan Price from Grounded for Life or Rules of Engagement, and Ken Marino from The State, in some like romantic comedy thing. You got Marcia Strassman as Sarah Carson, the mom. She'll be in the 1991 movie Fast Getaway. She is best known as the wife in Welcome Back, Kotter, Mr. Cotter's wife in that. and also to a newer generation for she was the mom in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Blew Up the Kid.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua John Miller did some acting. He was in Class of 1999, Teen Witch, River's Edge, Halloween 3. He's also the writer of a movie called The Final Girls, which came out a few years ago, and also a USA series called Queen of the South, which just ended, I think, last year. That lasted for like 62 episodes, like 3 seasons.
I also found out he is the half-brother of Jason Patrick.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought, that blew my mind. That was like 2 days ago when I found that.
Eden Gross, who played Max, he's done a lot of voice work primarily rather than on-screen stuff. He's been voices in Foofer, he's done Pro Stars, some work on Ren and Stimpy. He played Flounder in the Little Mermaid cartoon, and he was also the voice of the Good Doll, also known as Friendly Chucky, or the Tommy Doll, in all the Child's Play 1 through 3. So we'll actually hear his voice again once we get around to the Child's Play movie.
Yeah, he has... I don't know how... I mean, he was probably like our age, but...
Yeah, he's probably about our age,
like
yeah.
that childlike voice.
Yeah, he has the perfect child's voice at this age.
Even though he's like 11, 12 at that point.
It's very easy to hear why he would be cast as Flounder.
Oh, yeah.
That's perfect. For him at that age, I don't know what he sounds like now.
Yeah, I mean, if he still has that voice now, I'd be scared.
Yeah. You have John Quaid as Walter Kotzwinkle, the older one, the dad who was, the whatever character actor known for playing the villainous type in such things as like the outlaw Josie Wales, High Plains Drifter, Roots, Every Which Way But Loose, and Any Which Way You Can as well. He had prominent roles in that. You have Sam Behrens, who played Steve Franklin, the boyfriend. He's a huge soap opera veteran, starting in things like Ryan's Hope, and then moving on to General Hospital for 213 episodes as Jake Meyer, went on to Young and the Restless. He also has won the Soap Opera Digest Outstanding Villain Award for a role in Knots Landing, and also nominated 2 other times for his outstanding villain work on Sunset Beach, where he had spent 507 episodes playing Gregory Richards. So here he plays a nice guy. You got, I want to mention this really quickly here. So we got Ken Lerner played Matt Carson in the home movies. Why they couldn't get Alan Thicke to play himself in like a couple short scenes, I don't know, but they didn't. He just did the voice.
Yeah, I have no idea why.
But yeah, Ken Lerner's, if you see his face, you'll recognize him. It's really hard to see his face in this home movie footage, but he is that. I only mention him because he plays Principal Flutie in Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show, as does Armin Shimmerman, who was the contest judge. He also plays Principal Snyder in the Buffy the Vampire series. So we have 2 principals in the Buffy series, both in this movie. AJ Langer, we already talked about before. I also want to mention that Callie Packard makes a cameo. She is listed as Halloween Kid number 2. I think she might be the one who's like making out on the couch, or maybe she's part of the Seance Circle. I'm not sure. She's best known for roles in Baywatch, where she played April somebody, and then also California Dreams, where I know her from, is Tiffany. And then we last have Alan Thicke as Matt Carson / Newman, 3-time Emmy nominee, but not for Growing Pains. It was for writing America Tonight, which was the Martin Mull show and Fred Willard show from like the 70s, and also the Barry Manilow special he wrote and got nominated for that. He also has a daytime Emmy. He also has a daytime Emmy nomination for Pictionary, hosting Pictionary.
I mean, bring back Pictionary, because
bring back Win, Lose, or Draw more than Pictionary, and
Or,
Scrabble.
like, put that on. I don't know.
Put it on Pluto. Put it on Game Show Network.
Yeah, the Game
Buzzer,
Show Network,
whatever.
instead of the same 3 game shows, like Family Feud all day long.
Yeah. They don't license the old stuff anymore. It's all about the
It's
original
just, I don't know.
content, and then also Family Feud.
I was so obsessed with Pictionary and Win, Lose, or Draw.
Yeah. He also hosted a show called Animal Crack-Ups back in the day.
That used to be my favorite.
I loved it too. Yeah. You have celebrities answering questions about animals and biology and whatever.
Yeah.
And
was like
their points
educational.
were little tiny stuffed animals that they put on their little podium.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to go on that. Didn't they always have like 3 kids like
Oh, I thought it was
just there.
celebrities.
Oh, but I also
Maybe
thought
they
they had
yeah,
kids.
they might have had some episodes of kids as well. Maybe they changed the
And then
format.
he had like the hedgehog,
Yeah,
Reggie the
hedgehog.
Hedgie.
Yep. So
Yeah,
that
I was
lasted
obsessed
for
with that growing up.
2 or 3 seasons. Obviously, he's best known for Growing Pains. He does have a Golden Globe nomination for that role. He also has done a lot of stuff, such as writing and starring in The Alan Thicke Show from 1980 to 1982, and then Thick of the Night in 83 and 84. He's written for Fernwood Tonight, which was also related with the same cast as America Tonight. He's written for Flip Wilson and a bunch of other comedy legends as well, like Richard Pryor and some of their specials. He's also a composer, as we know. He's done TV themes like The Joker's Wild, the TV game show Wheel, that one that was released on Buzzr.
Oh, okay.
And then most notably, he wrote the theme songs for Different Strokes and Facts of Life. But he did not, despite common perception, write the Growing Pains theme. That was done by a man named Steve Dorff, but not the
Not
actor.
Stephen Dorff.
Yes.
I also learned that Alan Thicke, when he was 40, he was dating Christy Swanson when she was 17 years old, and they became engaged.
I did see that, yeah. On IMDb's trivia thing there.
Yeah, and that creeped me out.
So when would that have been? Like around... Okay, because Christy Swanson was in a similar movie to this, but a different tone, called Deadly Friend.
It said in 1987 he was 40 and she was 17.
Okay, so 87 would have been after Deadly Friend, whatever.
Yeah, but when she was 19 they got engaged.
Okay.
But obviously they never got married.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, but I just thought it was weird that they were together when he's 40 and she's 17.
Yes, there are a lot of creeps. A lot of creeps in Hollywood.
And then it just made me think of his son Robin Thicke, who... I don't like Robin Thicke. I don't know. Anyways.
Yes. So that's our cast. A relatively small cast overall. On to true crime and pop culture.
Yeah, so I found out this movie was released the same day as Cape Fear. So a lot of the information that I have from our very first episode. And so TV wise there was absolutely nothing new. It was a typical TGIF lineup, and I probably talked about it in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then also music wise,
we covered the top
we
five.
Covered we covered the top song, but not the top 5.
Oh.
But the top 5 have been the top 5 songs for so long that we've talked all about those songs. So now I'm going to talk about all the songs that were released this week, that the same week as this movie was released.
Okay, so we're talking about debuts.
Debuts for this week as of November 16th, 1991. I'm not going to do top 5 or bottom 5 because they're all the same.
Okay.
So starting with number 42, debut single of Can't Let Go by Mariah Carey. This was on her first album. I hope you know that song.
It's not what gets played anymore, really. I'm sure I heard it a lot more
her
back in the
first
day.
album is like my favorite still.
Okay.
So all the songs that were released this year were like my favorite Mariah Carey songs.
I never owned any of her albums or anything.
And then going to number 79, this is the debut song of Kiss You Back by Digital Underground.
Interesting. Okay. I know that song.
Yeah. Which...
That's a long song.
Yeah, so... I know we're gonna see this movie, but was that in...
Was it in Nothing But Trouble?
Yeah, did they sing
I don't know.
that? I know they're in it, but I know they sing a song.
I'm not sure.
Is it that song?
I'm not sure. I know it just from,
From
listening to
the
otherwise.
radio.
Yeah.
And then another debut song coming at number 84 is a song called Too Blind to See It by someone by the name of Kim Sims. Just by looking at that, I was like, who is this and what is the song? But when I started playing the song, I was like, oh, I know this song. And it's a dance, like a house dance song. And I found out that Kim Sims, she's from Chicago. But she didn't have like much success here in the States. She was notably big in the Scandinavian countries and in the UK.
Oh.
And this song became number 5 on the UK dance charts. And then just about her now, she had a battle with alcohol addiction, but then she returned to Billboard dance charts with another single called Turn It Up, and that reached number 6 in 2017. And then coming at number 88 is the debut song, which I've never heard of. The song is called All She Wrote by Firehouse.
I've heard of Firehouse. I can't remember what their big song was, but I never cared about Firehouse.
Yeah. They're just another... I know they're...
It's like blander than Goo Goo Dolls bland?
Not even. No, they're not even Goo Goo. They're like a hard rock, like metal type band.
Oh.
But the songs that I know that they did were just ballads.
Maybe that's why I'm thinking of them as like a Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah, one of them is When I Look Into Your Eyes. Do you know that?
I don't know.
And then the other one is Love of a Lifetime.
That's probably the one I'm thinking of.
Okay, and then debuting at number 89 is Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody by Kid and Play.
Ah. That was 91?
Well, yeah. They sang it in House Party 2.
Yeah, but I guess I assumed it was from House Party 1 era. Like I thought it was released earlier and they're just bringing it into House Party 2 because I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I didn't look
I've already blocked too much of House Party 2 out of my head, I guess.
Yeah, that's why I don't know, like, because the next band that I'm going to talk about, I was like, wait, this is 1991, but debuting at number 92 is from, my favorite. I already talked about them before, The Party. Their single called In My Dreams, but this is on their second album, and I was like, wait, their first and second album came out in 1991?
Both of them did?
No.
Okay. But they just released a single before the album came out?
No. So I guess this is why I don't know about like how singles are released. So their first album came out in 1990, but all of the songs from earlier in 1991 were released in early 91.
Mm-hmm.
Like Summertime, like the stuff that we talked about before. And this song is on their second album, which was released near the end of 1991, and this is like their first single that was released for their second album.
All right.
That's why I was confused, because I was like, wait a second, this song is not on their first album. And then I was like, wait, did they release 2 albums in a year? Because that's like insanity. But like back then they were like working teen bands, like nonstop.
Yeah. Still now, probably.
Yeah. I mean, just like with New Kids on the Block or whatever. Debuting at number 96. So this is where we're getting to a bottom 5. Debuting at number 96 is a song called Love Me All Up by a singer by the name of Stacey Earle. And I didn't know who she was either, but listening to the song, it just sounds like a Paula Abdul song.
All right.
And then she did a duet song called Romeo and Juliet with the band. It's like a group called the Wild Pair, and the Wild Pair are the guys behind MC Scat Cat.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I was like, so they're just trying to do...
sounds like Paula Abdul for a reason.
Yeah, then I was like, oh, so they just wanted to do another Paula Abdul type singer. Yeah. But she only had like a couple of singles, and it was in 91 and 92. And then this is the last song that was debuted for this week. It's Into the Great Wide Open by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. That was debuted at number 99.
That seems really low.
I know.
For something that's so well known now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of all, there's 8 that were released this week that were all new.
Mariah Carey makes sense.
Mariah, yes.
Digital Underground, I'd say, makes sense too.
At that time, but now, out of all 8 of those songs, I feel like everyone still listens to Into the Great Wide Open.
Oh yeah, that's played more than all of those combined, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to rankings and ratings. Where on your 1 to 5 star scale are you going to put And You Thought Your Parents Were Weird?
I'm gonna give this a 2.
2 is fair. Yeah, it's like I put it on the same level as like a Suburban Commando. And I don't remember what I gave Suburban Commando. I'm gonna say this one's probably like it's more enjoyable than what my rating is gonna be. I'm gonna say it's like a 1. I kind of wish that, you know, the robot had more than just an RC car underneath it and Alan Thicke's voice. I wish it had a little bit more interactivity with the environment or something like that. I wish there were a little bit more special effects than just the blue glow in that one scene. I wish the plot made maybe like a little bit more sense at times, but I didn't mind the goofiness of it all. I thought it was charming. I thought it was, you know, quirky, and if I was younger watching it, I'd probably like it a lot more. Even though I know I wouldn't love it even back then. You know, it's pandering. It's pure cheese. But so what did I say I was gonna give this? 1.5?
A 1.
I'll say 1.5.
But I would I don't know if you saw this on IMDb. This was featured in. Do you know what Everything Is Terrible is?
Yeah. So Everything Is Terrible is basically
it's like found
footage festival, and Everything Is Terrible. They both have similar types of packaging where they collect old VHSs or old movies and then make montages out of them and whatnot. So
this movie was in an Everything Is Terrible Kids Club tour that went earlier this year. So this movie was in their montage.
Got it.
And they were traveling. I mean, they were here in March, and I just, you know.
I've never seen any of their stuff.
Me neither.
I've heard a lot of good
things. They have a lot on YouTube, and I was wondering. I mean, there's like so many parts that I was like, I don't know if I want to watch like hours just to find this little bit.
Yeah.
And what if it's not even there?
And what clip would they be using for this?
Right. Like, is it the mom trying to seduce the robot?
Yeah. Maybe the seance. I don't know. There's quite a few decent, funny moments in there. But, I mean, if I had to choose between something like this and Suburban Commando, I'd probably pick Suburban Commando.
Oh, yeah.
So, every movie's worth watching once. Would you watch this again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. It's a nice, simple, easy, brain-free movie.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that sometimes. If you out there want to watch And You Thought Your Parents Were Weird as of this recording in July 2022, it's available on Tubi, Freevee, Vudu, digital rental, or VHS, but not DVD yet, or Blu-ray. As always, check your local listings. That could change. You can listen to us on all of your major podcasting platforms. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, and tell your friends. You can email us at 1991movierewind@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and YouTube. Just search 1991 Movie Rewind or go to 1991movierewind.com for the full list of movies along with show notes and more. Next week, we continue our family fantasy theme with episode number 75, on Hook. That's available on Stars, digital rental, VHS, or DVD. We will see you then.